here today to tell you how the education system screwed me over since the fourth grade. Now, I'm not doing terribly bad. As you can see, I'm not homeless. I'm not on the sidewalk. I'm not sleeping in a car at the moment. Now, don't get it twisted. I have slept on sidewalks. I have slept in cars. I've lived that struggle life. So, let's not get it twisted. I have been not very well taken care of by this education system we have here in California. And for added context, I am 30 years old. Just turned 30 last month. No, I can't count. July. It's 2 months ago. See, already. See what they did to me. So yeah, I'm 30. So I was in elementary in the early 2000s, middle school around the mid to late 2000s, and then I finally graduated in 2011. So there's context for what the education system was like if you want to look up what kind of policies they had or anything like that. That's around the time frame that I was experiencing the California education system, the Department of Education in California, or whatever official name you want to give it. And as a kid, I was moving around a lot, so actually I kind of lied in kindergarten, and I think some of first grade I was actually going to school in Alaska. Don't even ask me why. I couldn't tell you why I was in Alaska. I was there. But yeah, I was in Alaska, and this isn't an indictment on Alaska's education system. This is mostly California, particularly the Vallejo education. And you're not gonna get any fancy editing or anything. I'm gonna give it to you raw, because that's just the internet that I know. Like I said, I was born in 1993. I remember a time and place when videos were raw and just edited very amateurly and just way more personal and not all polished to be all perfect and corporate friendly and please put your advertisement here. Like I don't do anything like that. I'm Newgrounds internet. I'm funnyjunk.com internet. I'm MySpace internet. That's how I roll. That's how I'm gonna do it. If I decide to continue doing this, this is for all my old school internet folk before Facebook took over and ruined everything. So let's take it back to fourth grade, Vallejo, California, Farragut Elementary, Admiral something Farragut, some Navy dude they named the school after, because Vallejo was actually a very huge Navy town. Mostly people know Vallejo for like E40 and Mac Dre, and if you're from the Bay Area, you might have only been to Vallejo to like go to Six Flags or something like that. But yeah, that's where I was living. Yeah. So I was not a dumb kid. I'm not trying to brag, but before I was in school in Vallejo, I was going to school in Sacramento. I don't remember a lot about Sacramento, but I do remember taking some like reading test in like the third or second grade, and they said I had like a seventh or eighth grade reading level already. So I'm not a dumb kid, and I don't think they were just telling me that to just put like gas my head up or whatever. Couldn't tell you what the real standards are now compared to today, but yeah. So I was getting perfect scores in all my spelling tests in the fourth grade. This is in Vallejo. This is at Farragut now. And one time I didn't get a perfect score. I missed one word. And I still remember the teacher. The teacher's name was Mrs. James. She was a cool teacher by all means. She was not a bad person. Not that I remember having a good time in that class. But I took pride in having my perfect spelling tests. And I looked at it And I was like, wait a minute, I spelled that word right. I protested with the teacher, and I'm not really the type I wasn't really an authority challenger like that as a kid, at that age at least. But I was serious. I wanted to keep a perfect streak. Like, now that I know about it now, I mean, in the scheme of things, I guess, in the whole fourth grade, I guess that spelling test wasn't gonna like really affect me going to the next grade or anything like that. But I mean, I'm a kid, as a kid, we just take pride in certain random shit that as an adult we wouldn't really care about. And apparently the teacher wasn't going to correct it because she couldn't read my handwriting, I guess, but the word was spelled correctly. And I was like trying to tell the teacher, look, I was like almost ready to cry, like, please, like, can you please fix this? I want my text to be perfect. Like, but simply because I don't have the best handwriting, but she wasn't trying to hear my pleas. Some people might be like, well, you should have got better handwriting. You should have been practicing your handwriting better. But like, I'm a kid. Like, handwriting wasn't a priority for me, and it's just something that could just be debated on and on. Like, now look at where we are right now today. Does handwriting really matter that much now? No. Cursive doesn't matter like that anymore, does it? No, but they sure were making a big deal out of it when I was in elementary school. You gotta know cursive, you gotta know how to write good. But now look, we're typing everything now. When's the last time you have written a letter to someone? Answer that for me. Not a lot of you have probably done that in a long time with your own, like, a whole 5-page letter to someone. Is this thing on? So that is what helped sow the seeds of distrust and just kind of threw me off the path of taking education seriously and just not having trust in organizations and systems and authority and stuff like that, because it was a messed up situation to me. I mean, I still remember it very vividly. So let's fast forward to the 8th grade. This is 4 grades after this incident. Vallejo Middle. I have this math class they put me in, and I was doing good, and I'm not really a STEM kind of guy. Like, science and math and all that, it's not been my super strong suit or not my favorite subjects. I'm more of a history and English guy. So I'm doing really good in this math class, though. I had an A pretty early. But for some reason, the powers that be decided that since I got an A so early in that class, that I should be moved to a more advanced class. And at the time, I just was like a go along to get along type of student. I mean, I'm not really thinking like, oh, I should try to stay in this class. I wasn't aware of even having the ability to have an influence on that. Like, so they put me in this new math class, and already I'm having like new standards put upon me, and like I have to like get with the program of this particular teacher, the way they have their syllabus and all this curriculum, whatever, structured, how they do their grade. And part of it was you had to have a certain folder, a certain color, organized a certain way, and it was a part of your grade. Nothing to do with math, just your folder. Just a weak-ass colored folder. And that tanked my grade because, I don't know, I mean, partly it is on me, but I just never really got the folder because I just felt overwhelmed by the change. I was like, why do I have to do all this? Like, why do I have to get organized into all this? And looking back, I should have went to some authority into the office. But like I said, I wasn't a kid that was even aware that I had that ability to like go to offices. I'm not sure if it would have made a difference or not. I probably should have told my parent or someone in my house about it, but it had an effect. I ended up not doing good in that math class. It set me back in high school. Like, that lone math class messed my whole, it put me backwards in high school, just because it's almost like I was getting punished for being good in the first math class. It felt that way. Like, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't they say, oh, it's practice for the real world, you're supposed to be organized, but it's a math class for middle school. Why? And then it doesn't seem like the teacher was really making that much of an effort to, like, convince or encourage me. Mind you, this is 8th grade. Like, I mean, you're not really grown at, what, 14, 13, 14? Like, that plus the spelling everything, it was just really, part of it is just, yeah, you can blame me if that's how you want to do it. If you're just one of those people who just, like, you always have to be on top of your best. You can't blame the system. That's just how it is. Or you can just be like, this stuff is broken. The system is broken. It's not. Maybe I'm just looking too deep into it, but I mean, we're on the internet. That's what everything is all about. Just looking into everything. Come on. Even though I failed that math class, I go on, I finish middle school, go to the 9th grade, Vallejo High School, which is interesting because Vallejo Middle is right across the street from Vallejo High. And I get my schedule for Vallejo High, and they put me in remedial classes because I failed the math class, but they had me in a remedial English class, and it made no sense. It made no sense because I didn't fail English or anything like that. That doesn't correlate. So they had me in that, and I didn't get out of the remedial class until they did, like, this diagnostic test. And once I, like, passed it with flying colors or whatever, they realized I didn't belong in the freaking remedial class remedial English class, just because I failed math. And it was, the remedial classes weren't even really remedial. It was just where they put all of the badass kids who weren't trying to, like, it was like community day school classes. So they switched me out. But all in all, that just, it put me backwards, and it made me just realize, it discouraged me from even wanting to perform good in school. And throughout high school, I was going to summer school, night school, and all that, because I was just failing classes because I didn't care anymore, because I was like, even if I try, they're just gonna, like, screw me over anyway. Like, what's the point in trying? I would do good in the stuff that I liked already. Like, I didn't really fail. I don't think I ever really failed English classes like that, because I like to write, I like to read. And history, I might have failed from, like, a lack of participation or something like that, but I always loved history, and it wasn't an issue. But a lot of other classes, like, I just wasn't putting in the effort. And when it came time for graduation, fast forward to 12th grade, San Diego, a lot of moving happened between the 9th and 12th grade. I was going back and forth to a lot of schools, but I ended up doing my last year in Hoover High School in San Diego. And, you know, you're supposed to be getting ready for college and all that, but I wasn't taking it seriously. This is a little bit more on me, of course, but I really feel like there was no one there to, like, help emphasize how important it is to go to college. Should I not be blaming others for that lack of initiative? I don't know. I feel like they already try to say that under 18 you're a minor and you're not an adult yet, like. But I was already intent on not going to college anyway right after high school. But I feel like if things went differently with the whole situation beforehand, all the other setbacks I faced, I might have, wanted to take college seriously. And I didn't even have. I always like UC Berkeley, but come on, I'm not going. After hearing all that, do you think I have do you think I'd have the willpower to do whatever it takes to go to UC Berkeley from high school? Like, come on, like they say anything's possible, but I wasn't in my mindset in high school because it's just I didn't have faith in the education system. Is that an indictment on them or on me? Probably a little bit of both. I do remember in 12th grade, I remember we had this class for college prep where they had us all like go to the computer lab and like fill out our FAFSAs or whatever, see if we could get financial aid and all that. But I wasn't prioritizing it, and I wasn't like taking it serious. Like, oh, I need to go to this college so bad, I can't wait. Like, I never had that excitement for college that they show on TV where it's like, oh man, I hope they pick me to go to Pepperdine. I hope I get accepted to Harvard. That was never, ever, 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 ever in my heart. Ever. Because I just was like, what is it? College is going to be the same thing. I'm going to try. They're going to screw me. And it's not going to get me anywhere. So what's the point? Education is just, you could learn anywhere. You can learn from the internet. Why does it matter if it's certified learning? And yeah, I was very intent on having my, what they say, a gap year. I wanted to have a gap year of no school because I was like, why would I want to go straight to college right after high school? Because I just had 12 years of straight school. Let me get a break. I'm gonna be an adult and I can do whatever I want. And I'm such a contrarian. I was just like, everyone else is going to high school. Why would I want to go to high school? Probably not the best decision. Now, I am where I am right now, thankfully, but let's get into it. So my grandpa came from out of state to come to my graduation, and my grandma. And my grandpa, while he was in town, he actually took me to a military recruitment center, but I didn't want to go to the military either because I was low-key a hippie. I still kind of am. But I was low-key like, I'm not trying to fight no wars for this country. Like, what do I look like? I wasn't trying to do that, so I intentionally like tanked. And by that, I mean, I mentioned that I had asthma, which is true, I did. But if you know anything about military recruitment, if you don't mention certain things, they'll let you join, as long as you're like, don't die while you're in boot camp. So I mentioned that. I was just basically tanking. I was just telling them things that particularly, I don't know if I said anything else, but I do remember mentioning I had asthma, and they were like, well, you basically said I had to get cleared, but I just used that and I just stalled them out, and I didn't want to do the military after high school. So I graduated, and exactly nothing. I graduated and I don't do anything. Like I wasn't trying to get a job, and that was how I ended up homeless, because I come from a family where once you turn 18, you've grown, and you gotta get it how you live. You gotta figure it out. And I still believe that it shouldn't be that way. It's just not right. It's a very American thing, like this whole mindset that once you turn 18, you're automatically, that's not how it works, because we're not trained to be self-sufficient in high school. We're trained in very non-vocationally. We're learning subjects and stuff. We're not learning like how to pay rent or how to look good for the resume. Like, that's not what's happening. And not in my high school, not in my school. So I don't get a job. I'm basically homeless because I'm a grown man. Like, no one's gonna want to take care of me anymore. And I might as well mention, yes, I am the child of a single mother. So that doesn't make me a charity case. That doesn't give me any excuses, because there's plenty of kids who come from broken homes that do pretty well. But I feel like that is fair to add in for context, even though I don't really like divulging certain details about my life. I'll give you that much. So, because I know a lot of people are just like, well, what were your parents? What were the parents? It's tough, but I do not want your sympathy. I just want to provide context. That is just, I want to be informational mostly. Okay, maybe not informational per se, but like, this is more of a narrative. I'm giving you my side of the story. I'm giving you my experience. Maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. For those who know me more intimately, maybe it will provide context and just just what happened with me in my life and where I am and all that. So yeah, I was homeless for a few years, probably all the way up to like 21 or 22. So like from like the age of 18 to like 21, 22. So like 3 years of like not really having a home. Not like, I wasn't really on the street kind of homeless. I was more like a couch surfing kind of man with no country type of homeless, where I would get government benefits and just give you a cut if you let me sleep there, give you my food, whatever, or just like making sure I'm doing my part, or I'll like be out of the house all day and then come back to sleep, or sleep in a car. I think I've only slept out in the street like maybe like once. I got pretty blessed with that. I got pretty lucky. Like, I didn't really have to be out in the streets. I was always, shout out to everyone who hooked me up and helped me with that, friends and family. So what ended my streak of homelessness was, I was in Sacramento after a few years, and I realized that I didn't have any consistent work, and if I ever wanted to get a job where I could be actually self-sufficient, I'm going to need a work history. And what kind of work history I'm going to develop without an education, aka like a degree or certificate? Where am I going to get a decent job without a degree or certificate? Because by that time, through those 3 years, I realized, oh yeah, degrees matter, certificates matter, all this stuff matters. Even if you're not necessarily learning anything you might find important, or it's just like there's a lot of stupid stuff in between, it's just the piece of paper matters, because it's just all about the system of looking good and looking official. Like, it's just, everything has to look official. It doesn't even have to actually be, quality, because there's plenty of people with degrees who don't know what they're doing at all. It's just they have a degree and they know people, so they got a job. So once I realized that you have to play the game and you can't just be mad at the game, I decided to join the military, even though I had my little qualms, and I'm not exactly a conservative, so there's that. And that's how I ended up where I am now, because GI Bill. And I used that to go to school for something that I wanted to do that I didn't even know was available. Who gets told that you can be an audio engineer in high school? No, they don't. They don't really give you as many options as they should when they're talking about jobs in high school and middle school. They should be telling you about the kind of jobs you want to do in middle school, really, not freaking the last grade right before they kick you out into the world. Like, that's crazy. Like, and there's so many jobs that they're out there that they don't talk about. It's almost like they make it that way so they just engineer you and try to steer you towards the jobs they want you to have, and not the possible ones that you can get. Like, so I ended up finally going to college and going to school at this engineering school. Passed it. I actually got into like the honors list, the silver version, not the top gold, but I had good grades all around. Yay me. See, I'm not dumb. I just need to be motivated. That's a lot of people. A lot of people aren't dumb. They just need to be motivated. Like, a lot of people aren't just going to do something just because you gotta get a good grade or to look good for people, because some people don't care about looking like official or good or like that, because some people just don't want to play the game. Some people just don't want to. They don't want to, like, it's easy to get mad at this whole this whole theater that we have to participate in life. And I still keep a little bit of that in me, because I feel like it gives me an advantage, like, to look at things differently and just to not be disillusioned. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but I like it. It sounds good. Now I'm in school for business. A broke person getting a business degree. I know a lot of people probably think this is stupid, and I don't blame them, but I want to do stuff I like, and I like the entertainment business, so at least I'll have knowledge, and maybe I could use what I know and whatever creative edge I might have, or whatever unique about me, what selling points I have about myself that I have to figure out. I could get a job doing what I want to do, because that's just been the thing I've always wanted to do. It's just what I want to do, what makes me happy. I want to be happy and make a living. I don't want to just be doing stuff to be doing stuff. That's why I don't have kids or nothing, no pets or nothing, because I don't want to be responsible for nothing for myself. And people say that's selfish, but like, it's already hard enough out here on your own. And I am happy that I was able to do things by my own accord, and I've survived this long probably by divine grace and luck and support of the loved ones around me. Yes. I feel like the moral of my story is there's a balance between completely just railing and going against the system and just completely falling in line and becoming a drone. Like, there's a sweet spot you gotta hit if you really want to have a livable life, a decent life, for your mentals mostly. I'm very considerate about how things affect my mental health, and that's probably why I do live a very selfish life, probably to a lot of people. I don't really talk to people a lot. I have a very small circle, as they say. I don't enjoy that a lot. I mean, I'm not upset about not having a bigger circle, but I feel like I could be a lot more successful in life because now I know, like, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So, like, knowing the right people can open a lot of good doors. But just know what power you have, and don't let organizations and systems, or, like, authorities, like, keep you from progressing. And don't be afraid to ask for help, or, like, just to question certain things. Like, if it doesn't make sense, like, if there is any lesson from anything that I just told you about, I mean, I guess that would kind of be it. I don't know. Like, this is very half-baked of me. I'm doing all of this right now just because I was encouraged by my girlfriend, and shouts out to her, and I really want to try this content stuff out. And yeah, I feel like this is valuable to share my experience, whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right. And I mean, of course, there's a lot more details in between I didn't get into. Like, that's a lot of years to go through 4th to 12th grade. A lot of stuff happened there. But I just wanted to really focus on, like, how no one's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Like, the system, as I was raised, ain't no one perfect but God, Jesus. That's how I was raised. I was raised very Christian, so
Yeah, so basically, like, these systems full of humans and perfect. So, like, but you can't let it keep you down, and you gotta keep it pushing if you wanna not be stuck on government assistance all your life, which I don't really want to do, unless it's the military kind of government assistance, because that's the kind you have to earn, and you don't necessarily feel too bad about using GI Bill or VA loans. It's you earned it. You put your time in, and yeah. Sorry, but not sorry if this was kind of like disorganized and jumbled, but I really want to keep this very authentic and genuine and unscripted. I don't know if that'll change. I don't know, but I do like giving it unfiltered and raw and from the top of my head, because I feel like we're missing that kind of authenticity these days. Everything is super like everyone acts so commercial, like it's just normal. People are talking about on brand. On brand is a normal term now. To me, that freaks me out. That on brand is something used by people who have no corporate interest or no stakeholdering, or like, I don't know, just the fact that on brand is like very much of a post-capitalist society, whatever that word, whatever people call it, I forget, you know what I mean, like that whole term that people use, but it's just very weird to me. So I guess that's it for this edition of Whatever You Say, Sween. I just came up with that. That's gonna be the title of this little series I got going or whatever. Whatever you say, Sween. Whatever you say, Sween. Whatever you say, Sween. Nah, but yeah, I guess that's it. Goodbye.